Nate returning once again for a movie review and Blu-ray review of The Slumber Party Massacre. This movie is one of my all-time favorite slasher movies of all time, which I guess is kind of redundant. I saw this for the very first time in 1990 at the exact same video store I rented. What was that review I did of Phantasm 1 and 2? Back in 1990, there were only 2 Phantasms, so I rented 1 and 2 from this mom and pop video store, and I think on a day when you could get 2 for the price of 1. And I probably did the same thing for Slumber Party Massacre 1 and 2 in 1990 from the same video store. Obviously being 13 and just getting into, kind of just getting into, it's like a year into my getting into horror movies and stuff. When you're 13 and a heterosexual boy, the title like Slumber Party Massacre is one of the most, you really want to see that movie. It's one of the best titles. You know, I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is great, but Slumber Party Massacre, oh man, it's just great. It invokes so much of what you want to see at 13, you know, 13-year-old boys. So, I mean, I got it and I was just like, oh my god. And back in the day, and you know, I bought this VHS tape. I think not long after I saw the movie at Suncoast, probably that same summer. One of the first things when the movie starts that you become aware of is, of course, the absolutely fantastic score done electronically by Ralph Jones. That right back there is the LP of the soundtrack of Slumber Party Massacre that I own, obviously. One of the many amazing things about Slumber Party Massacre is the music, which, you know, I know the music in Halloween gets a lot of credit and is just world famous and well known and renowned and everything like that, and it's you know, and it should be. But at the same time, you know, it is a very minimalistic kind of a soundtrack, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm getting at is what Ralph Jones did for the score of Slumber Party Massacre, the electronic score, was phenomenal and is much more intricate and detailed than you know, what John Carpenter did for Halloween. And it's a shame that, again, like so many other things, it's a shame that the score of Slumber Party Massacre isn't a little more well known and appreciated than Halloween, or I mean, you know, it should be. What am I trying to say? It should be more appreciated than it is, I think, is what I'm trying to say. Because hopefully, if the copyright people don't strike me down, you have, you know, either heard or are hearing samples of the Ralph Jones Slumber Party Massacre music right now. So Slumber Party Massacre, I mean, oh my stars, you know, first of all, it starts with, you know, obviously you got 20-something girls playing, you know, high school girls, but whatever, they're 20-something, I'm not going to complain. And you open up with this, you know, this tacky ass, you know, first of all, this movie is directed by this woman who ironically was an editor, Amy Jones, I want to say, who was an editor, and get this is probably something if you're not a Slumber Party Massacre fan, you probably didn't know. Are you ready for this? This is awesome. This is such a great fun fact. Amy Jones could either direct Slumber Party Massacre, and we're assuming she's never directed before. She could either direct for the very first time a movie called Slumber Party Massacre, or she could edit Steven Spielberg's E.T. And I must say, she chose the same choice I would make, and the wise one. Not to say E.T. isn't good, but I'd much rather have, you know, Amy Jones's Slumber Party Massacre than have her edit E.T. So you made the right. She probably doesn't believe she made the right choice, which financially she may have not. But that's just an interesting, super interesting, fun fact. That's very cool to me, and there's probably many of those kind of facts out there in the world that we'll never know about and all that kind of stuff. So that's very cool. So first of all, the movie starts with this presumably high school girl getting up, and right being 13, right at the beginning of the movie, it shows right what you want to see, and you know, at the risk of being a male chauvinist pig. So, you know, she takes off her nightie, and we get right right at the beginning of the movie, we get to see a lot of, or some of what we hoped to see, which was kind of cool. What I always found was so funny, I'm going to try not to do a scene by scene. I'm really going to try. What I thought was so funny is that I'm just, I'm going to get up and just throw away some of my some of my dolls today. And I just thought that was really weird. Like, I'm going to get up and just pick some stuff to throw out. But she had to put this doll in the trash so it could show up later. It's not a really big deal, but anyway, I'm going to give Slumber Party Massacre 4 stars. It's probably not a 4-star movie, but I think it's one of the most... If you're going to give someone a handful of early 80s slashers to watch, I think, for me, it would definitely be in that list. If you were going to give someone maybe a list of 5 must-watch early 80s slasher movies, Slumber Party Massacre would probably be, for me, on the list I would put on there. It is such quintessential early 80s slasher cinema.
Wow, this is the real thing. I think I'm in love.
But the great thing about Slumber Party Massacre is that, so many people credit Scream with doing the first thing of its kind, which is, both parodying and also being like a horror movie, both at the same time, which I would argue, Scream is hardly the first movie to have done it. I mean, Slumber Party Massacre does it, and Slumber Party Massacre has sorry I keep saying the title, but I just love it. It has such a great sensibility and a great sense of, such a great funny, fun, playfulness about it, and it doesn't, doesn't really take itself too seriously, and it just has fun.
Rachel, what are you doing?
I was just putting in your people.
Oh, thanks.
I think one of the biggest things about Slumber Party Massacre, one of the biggest words that I can think of to describe it, is fun. Not only are you just seeing scantily clad, nubile young women, sometimes naked, topless, but you're seeing a very playful script and a very playful movie.
He's dead, all right. No kidding. He's so cold. Is the pizza? Oh. Well, life goes on after all, and eating makes me feel best. When I feel bad, and boy, do I feel bad. Oh. I feel better already, really I do.
The killer, I would say, never necessarily interested me. I mean, it's the portrayal or anything like that. When I was 13, I was all into like masked silent killers and stuff. I know that the guy was, I think it was his first role and stuff, and he was one of these, which I don't quite get, but I'm not saying they're bad, but he was one of these method actors, and I don't quite understand the whole method acting thing personally, but I'm not knocking it, I'm just saying I don't understand it. But, I mean, he was definitely serviceable and famous, classic, it's just, I don't know, the killer wasn't really, he's like, I love you. Takes a lot of love for a person to do this, I remember, first seeing it thinking, gosh, he's just weird. I mean, he kind of grows on you over the years. But, obviously the drill is just classic. Now, it's completely a movie cheat, by the way, this drill, because this drill, would not be able to operate without a big, huge battery pack. They're doing cheating where they're probably putting a cord down his, sleeve, and a power cord down his sleeve and everything like that, because the drill as presented in the movie as just a standalone power drill would not work. It need a big, huge battery pack or to be plugged in. So they do a big movie cheat with that drill. So I hate to spoil it, but they do. I love how the movie pretty much opens with this basketball game, and the nubiles are bouncing around and they're doing a basketball, and it's just like we're introduced to this prissy, stuck up. What the hell's her name? Shit. You think I'd be able to remember the character's name. Whatever. We're introduced to this stuck up. I'm just trying to think of her name. Diane. This stuck up character, Diane, and it's like, Diane, you're a snob. Hey, only the best people are, And we're also introduced to the Valerie, this new girl. Now, I must say, before I forget that, not that I could really forget because it's so tragic. This girl who plays Valerie is such a tragic story, because this woman who I had to write her name, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Robbins, we'll just say Stille. We'll just say Robin Still or Stilly or something like that. Unfortunately, this is tragic because I'm going to show, as I'm saying this, I'm going to show some of the most beautiful shots of this girl in the movie, because to you people who don't know about this actress, she in the mid-90s killed herself. And it's just, I don't know, it's tragic, and it's one thing that I didn't know until that trilogy DVD came out or something like that. I didn't know until fairly recently, within the last several years or something, and of course internet, and all that kind of stuff. But I just want to just say it's a very tragic thing, and I think she was younger actually than I am now when she killed herself, and I think she had at least one kid, and I can't see, I can see killing yourself if you don't have kids. But if you have kids, killing yourself is, gosh, kind of heartless in my opinion. If they're young, if they're, teenagers or younger. I mean, I don't know how old her kids were. Well, the kid must have been young. I mean, she was younger than I am now when she killed herself. Anyway, I can't. So the girl who plays Valerie in this movie ended up killing herself, and that's kind of sad. But I can imagine a beautiful girl being beautiful as a girl has its drawbacks, because you probably, depending on your situation, I can see ending up being just guys' playthings and stuff. I can't imagine, the negativity that comes with actually being attractive. Probably a lot of negative, resentful thoughts and stuff. So, like I say, I don't know any of the details behind. I'm really talking a lot about this, but I feel it's my duty. I don't know any of the details behind why or anything like that. But anyway, just a tragic note. The girl who played Valerie, which I love, I've always loved ever since I saw it. Not to praise her because she's dead, but just for actual truth. If she were still alive, I'd say the same thing, which is I loved her portrayal of Valerie, which was probably one of the best performances in the movie, which was so genuine. And when I was 13, I was like, God, I wish I hope I can meet a girl that looks like that and is also like that. Her character is she's obviously beautiful, but also so down to earth and just normal, kind of just an admirable character. And you have Valerie, and what the hell, Courtney is her little sister's name, and the stuff that you see between them. What I like about the movie is the Valerie character and her sister Courtney are right next door to where the slumber party is taking place. So Courtney was actually in Valerie. All these names.
As the famous Jim Jones once said, shut up and drink your Kool-Aid.
Valerie was actually invited to the slumber party. Valerie, I don't know if I talked about it. I got off on a suicidal tangent. The character of Valerie is like this new girl, right? So she's like, I have a hard time fitting in, but she's invited by one of the leads of the movie to the slumber party, and she turned them down because she heard, in the locker room, some of them talking trash, and they're all jealous because she's so cute and all this kind of stuff. So throughout the course of the movie, we see, which is a very short movie, by the way. It's just, I don't know what it is. I should know, but I don't. It's very short, and So throughout the course of this movie, we cut back and forth between what's going on with Valerie and Courtney, you know, Valerie and her little sister, which are some funny anecdotes about Playgirl magazine and banana peels and this kind of thing, but I just love the character of Valerie in this movie. She so wonderfully plays this girl who's just girl next door, literally in the movie, just a really nice kind of a girl who ends up who ends up pretty much saving the day. So. Then you got this character who you were introduced to at the very beginning of the movie, Mr. Content, who is played by this goofy guy who, I must say, there's an interview with him on the Blu-ray and he's nuts.
Hi, Mr. Content.
Don't worry, I won't let the girls get in any trouble.
Shit.
But anyway, the guy, I like the character Mr. Content in the movie. He's just so Californian and just so goofy and whatever. And you really don't know. Well, obviously you don't think he's a killer because you know who the killer is. I mean, that's definitely what this movie isn't. I mean, it's not a mystery of like who's the killer. You kind of just know who the killer is, don't you? So it's just a wonderful little movie that's like 77 minutes long. I mean, it's definitely great for like 13-year-old boys who don't have a very what's that? How do you say that? Very big, long attention span, and who just want to see tits and stuff. I mean, you know, I was. Maybe I'll put this clip in this review. I knew this kid. I have this on tape in 1989, and he was 11, and I called him up on the phone, and I'd always record phone calls on the camera. And here's a perfect example of what young boys are thinking about. I asked him if he wanted me to bring a movie over.
Well, should I bring a movie over or something?
Yeah, go ahead, bring a movie over.
Well, what?
A movie that I haven't seen.
Well, like horror or what?
I don't care. Anything with tits. Or pussy.
Oh, God, I don't have many.
Yeah, you do.
Like what?
There's some tits in that, what's it called?
What? What?
There's tits in Jason, remember?
So, you just want me to bring tits?
Yeah. Bring 2 over.
You know, so that's proof of what, you know, young boys want to see in a movie, especially called Slumber Party Massacre. So, like I say, they give it to you. So all around, this is a really great movie, and you know, I don't want to forget to say anything, but I may, and stuff like that. Brinke Stevens is in it. That's one of the tragedies about the movie, is that, you know, having looked at the Blu-ray and stuff like that, or maybe I saw this on there's some video on YouTube, some convention, but apparently she said she was supposed to be one of the lead girls in the movie, but due to, you know, being like obligated to do something else or something, she was unable to be, and that's kind of a shame because she's really, really pretty damn cute, and I've actually always wondered why they kill such a hot girl off, and well, there's the reason, because she had to go do something else. But in this movie, she is flipping absolutely amazing, and you know, an ass like no other, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to show you the ass, but take my word for it, and in her face is great too. But Slumber Party Massacre is just a fantastic Roger Corman produced movie, and it's absolutely, I can't stress enough how great of a, you know, like a perfect example of exploitation, just, you know, schlock, you know, naked topless girls horror movie, and it's so much fun. And you got these 2 other guys who are, maybe we should let's crash the party, let's go and whatever. And I must admit, there's this one scene where the you know, after all hell breaks loose, it's beyond classic when the pizza guy arrives and the killer kills the pizza guy, and they ask through the door how much or what's the damage, and the killer's like 6 so far, meaning how many people he killed, and they think it's the price of the pizza. So they're like, they open the door and which is completely unrealistic, but it's really cool. The pizza delivery man with his eyes, you know, drilled out, the corpse, he's dead, he falls, and falls on the ground, and that's when they realize that there's some kind of killer around. And the 2 guys that crash the party end up deciding that they should make a run for it. Both of them should go one direction and the other direction, and one of them will make it, you know. And what I was going to say is this, you know, the movie's mostly just kind of tongue-in-cheek a lot of the time, but there's this really serious death, which is really creepy, of the one kid who the killer gets. He drills one of them in the garage, I think, and he stabs the other one. And it's actually, I must admit, it is actually kind of, it's not funny, it's completely serious, that death, and it's almost like takes you back. It's just like, holy shit, you know, it's almost like too serious for the rest of the movie, that kill. And since the guy's a method actor, it looks like he's just completely just doing it for real. So that's a creepy part. But I can't, you know, for a slasher movie from the early 80s, I cannot praise Slumber Party Massacre enough. And again, it might not be a 4-star movie, but for me it is. Let me go like this, 4 stars. Let's get on to the Blu-ray. This just came out from Scream Factory, the offshoot of Shout Factory, and pretty impressed. I mean, you gotta have Slumber Party Massacre on Blu-ray. And I think the only pretty much new feature on here is it says it's a new HD transfer from the original camera negative. Sleepless Nights: The Making of Slumber Party Massacre, I think, was on that trilogy they released. The same Scream Factory released a DVD trilogy years ago, which I was grateful for because it was the first time the first 2 movies had been anamorphic. And the audio of the first movie on the first DVD that came out was so horrible. It was like some pseudo stereo thing. It was ridiculous. I don't think they say on the back here, there's an interview with the guy who played Mr. Content, but there is. It's overly long and it's overly weird, and he does this goofy poem performance, and you know, again, it's just a personal taste of mine. I don't like it, but if you like that kind of thing and a goofy, overly, you know, eccentric, quote-unquote poet guy doing some goofy ass reading of a poem or acting it out or whatever, if you like that, that's cool. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it's not for me. So overall, the Blu-ray is great to have. To be honest, the DVD, anamorphic DVD that they put out years ago looked great on the TV. So, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look too much better than that, I guess. But I mean, I had to have it, obviously. And the commentary and the Sleepless Nights documentaries poured it over. But you know, it's great to have a Slumber Party Massacre Blu-ray for sure. And before I end, I just want to make sure. I just hope I didn't forget anything. But I don't know. I guess if I forgot something, I can always review it again. So that's Nate here, huge movie fanatic Nate, coming at you with a review of Slumber Party Massacre movie and Blu-ray review. Thanks for watching.
You know, I think your tits are getting bigger.
Mine?